Welcome to my channel. We upload 3 to 5 times a week, so don't miss out on our scary horror story. Hit that subscribe button now. Get the latest video when we upload. Are you brave enough to enter a haunted house? In this spine-chilling horror story, a group of investigators uncovers the dark secrets of a seemingly abandoned home. But what they find inside is far from what they expected, a vengeful ghost girl with a thirst for revenge. This is a story that will leave you trembling in fear and wondering what lurks in the darkness of the unknown. As the investigators delve deeper into the girl's tragic past, they realize that her spirit is not to be trifled with. Follow along as we recount the gory and horrifying details of the ghost girl's reign of terror and the lengths the investigators go to in order to banish her spirit from the haunted house. Okay, let's begin. It was a dark and stormy night when a group of teenagers decided to explore an abandoned house on the outskirts of town. They had heard rumors about the house being haunted, but they didn't believe in ghosts. Little did they know that they were about to encounter a terrifying entity that would change their lives forever. As they entered the house, they felt a chill run down their spines. The air was thick with an eerie silence that made it difficult to breathe. Suddenly, they heard a faint whisper that seemed to come from the shadows. Get out while you still can. The teenagers brushed off the warning and continued their exploration. But as they moved deeper into the house, they began to feel a sense of unease. The walls were covered in peeling wallpaper, the floors creaked underfoot, and there was a distinct smell of decay in the air. It was then that they saw her. A pale, ghostly figure appeared before them, dressed in a tattered white dress. Her long, dark hair hung in front of her face, obscuring her features. The teenagers froze, unable to move as the ghost girl approached them. With a blood-curdling scream, the ghost girl lunged at them, her hands reaching out to grab them. The teenagers tried to run, but they found themselves trapped in the house, unable to escape. One by one, the ghost girl began to pick them off, using gory and horrifying methods to kill them. She ripped out their hearts, disemboweled them, and left their bodies in twisted, contorted positions. The remaining teenagers were paralyzed with fear, knowing that they were next. As the night wore on, the house became filled with the screams of the dying. The ghost girl seemed to be enjoying her killing spree, relishing in the terror that she was causing. The remaining teenagers huddled together, praying for a way out. But there was no escape from the ghost girl's wrath. She continued to haunt the house, claiming more victims with each passing night. The local authorities had been alerted to the disappearance of the teenagers, but they had no leads on their whereabouts. The families of the missing teenagers were beside themselves with grief, praying for their safe return. But deep down, they knew that it was unlikely. No one ever returned from the haunted house. Days turned into weeks, and weeks turned into months. The house remained empty, a constant reminder of the horrors that had taken place within its walls. People in the town whispered about the ghost girl, warning their children to stay away from the abandoned house. It wasn't until a group of paranormal investigators arrived that the truth behind the ghost girl's story began to unravel. The investigators were experienced in dealing with cases of hauntings and were determined to get to the bottom of the mystery. As they entered the house, they could feel the weight of the darkness pressing down upon them. The air was thick with the scent of death, and they could hear faint whispers coming from the shadows. Undeterred, the investigators began their investigation. They brought with them high-tech equipment, that allowed them to communicate with spirits and detect paranormal activity. It wasn't long before they encountered the ghost girl. She appeared before them, her pale face twisted into an expression of rage. The investigators tried to communicate with her, but she seemed unwilling to talk. Undeterred, they pressed on with their investigation. They began to uncover the truth behind the ghost girl's story, piecing together the events that had led to her becoming a vengeful spirit. They discovered that the ghost girl was the spirit of a young girl who had died in the house many years ago. She had been trapped there, unable to move on, and her anger and frustration had turned her into a vengeful spirit. The investigators also found out that the girl's death was not natural, but rather the result of a gruesome murder. It turned out that the girl had been the victim of a heinous crime committed by one of the previous owners of the house. The man had abducted and tortured the young girl before killing her and burying her body within the walls of the house. The investigators were horrified by what they had uncovered. They realized that the ghost girl was seeking revenge on her killer and anyone who dared to enter the house. They tried to communicate with the girl's spirit, but she refused to be pacified. Her anger and thirst for revenge were too great, and she continued to haunt the house, claiming more victims. The investigators knew that they had to act quickly before more innocent lives were lost. They contacted a team of experienced exorcists who could perform a ritual to banish the ghost girl's spirit from the house. The exorcism was a difficult and dangerous process, but the team managed to succeed in banishing the ghost girl's spirit from the house. The dark clouds that had hung over the town for so long began to dissipate, and the air felt lighter and less oppressive. The families of the missing teenagers finally had some closure. They were able to lay their loved ones to rest and move on with their lives. The haunted house was demolished and a memorial was built in honor of the victims. The investigators never forgot about the ghost girl and her tragic story. They vowed to continue to fight against injustice and to bring peace to the restless spirits of the dead. But even though the ghost girl's spirit was banished from the house, some people in the town still reported strange happenings and sightings of a pale, ghostly figure. They wondered if the ghost girl had truly been banished or if her spirit still lingered in the town, seeking revenge. The legend of the ghost girl became a cautionary tale, warning people of the dangers of venturing into the unknown and the consequences of ignoring warnings. But for some, the ghost girl's story remained a mystery, shrouded in darkness and fear. In the end, the ghost girl's story was a tragic one, filled with pain, sorrow, and revenge. Her spirit may have been banished, but her legacy lived on, haunting the memories of those who had dared to enter the haunted house. As we come to the end of this terrifying tale, we are reminded that sometimes the darkest secrets are hidden within the walls of the places we call home. The ghost girl's story is a cautionary one, warning us of the dangers of ignoring the past and the consequences of seeking revenge. But even as her spirit was banished from the house, the memory of her tragedy lives on, haunting those who dare to venture into the unknown. We hope this story has left you with a sense of both fear and fascination, and that it has encouraged you to always heed the warnings of the unknown. Until next time, stay safe and beware the ghosts that may linger in the shadows.